This AI writes code better than most humans. Claude is an AI assistant built by Anthropic, made for writing, coding, and careful reasoning. Anthropic is the AI safety company behind Claude, built from day one to be careful, not bolted on later. So what does Claude actually do day to day? Writing, coding, research, and deep analysis. It's built different. Anthropic designed Claude around following instructions carefully, not just sounding smart. Claude's context window sits at 200,000 tokens on the standard paid tier. That's roughly hundreds of pages in a single prompt, enough for a whole contract or research paper at once. Here's where Claude tends to shine. Ask around online about which AI writes better, and one name keeps coming up: Claude. It's not just chat anymore. Claude now works directly inside Chrome, Excel, and PowerPoint. Here's Claude's actual toolkit today. Claude also shows up as a co-work agent for non-developers, handling multi-step research and writing tasks. Inside Slack, anyone can tag at Claude and hand it a task directly, no separate app needed. Claude Pro starts at $17 a month billed annually and includes Claude Code at every paid tier. Even the free tier gets a lot. Free Claude runs the same model that used to be Pro's default, with no ads at all. Claude actually comes in a lineup of models, from fast and light to deep and frontier. At a glance, that's the lineup. So that's what Claude is. Now, here's how it's actually changing the way people work. Older AI just answered questions. Claude increasingly takes actions across your actual tools. Here's roughly how Claude works as an agent. Claude Code lets developers hand off entire coding tasks from the terminal, desktop, or even their phone. Ask Claude in Outlook to triage a messy inbox, and it drafts replies and finds meeting times on its own. Claude in PowerPoint takes a rough idea and turns it into a formatted slide deck without touching a template. The assistant that used to just answer questions can now finish the job. On the API, Claude's context window can stretch all the way up to 1 million tokens. A bigger context window means Claude can read your whole contract, book, or repo at once instead of in pieces. That's exactly the kind of work long context is built for. Anthropic built Claude around instruction following and alignment from the ground up, not bolted on after launch. Give Claude a detailed brief, and it tends to actually stick to it. But how does all of this actually stack up against the other big name in AI? Let's put the two head-to-head on context. Side by side, the context windows aren't close. Both cost $20 a month at the entry tier. The real difference is what you actually get for it. Here's where ChatGPT still pulls ahead. On the API, Claude Sonnet runs $3 per million input tokens and 15 per million output tokens. And here's where Claude tends to pull ahead. ChatGPT can generate images and talk with full duplex voice. Claude does neither, at any price. If your workflow bounces between writing, image ideas, and talking out loud to your AI, ChatGPT's broader toolkit fits better. Claude offers zero native image generation features in its chat interface, at any price tier. Quick one. Which of these actually has the bigger context window at the $20 tier? ChatGPT's free tier shows ads in the US and limits you to about 10 messages before downgrading the model. Claude's free plan runs the Sonnet 5 model with memory and web search, and no ads at all. Laid out side by side, the free plans look pretty different. Among developers, long context length is repeatedly named as the single biggest reason for switching to Claude. One 2025 developer survey found GPT models used by 81% of developers versus 43% for Claude. ChatGPT still has more total developer reach today, but multiple surveys show Claude's share growing faster. So why are people actually switching? It usually comes down to one of three things. Reason 1. Writing quality. A common line from power users. Claude follows instructions, ChatGPT improvises. For teams whose daily work is writing and reviewing code, Claude has become the default pick. Here's what that looks like for developers specifically. Reason 3 is context. Feeding in a full contract, a whole code base, or a long report in one shot. Who this actually fits best. A few of the most common first tasks people bring to Claude. Most people who switch aren't rejecting ChatGPT, they're adding Claude for the jobs it's actually built for. Neither tool wins in every situation, but one of them is probably better for you. Anthropic keeps shipping. Haiku, Sonnet, Opus, and now the Frontier tier Fable and Mythos models. It's a trend, not a verdict. Claude's developer share is smaller today, but reported to be growing faster. If your work is long documents, serious code, or careful reasoning, Claude is worth trying. Try Claude if any of this sounds like you. The AI that used to just chat can now actually finish the job. If you need image generation, real-time voice, or the widest plugin ecosystem, ChatGPT remains the stronger all-rounder. Here's the recap on Claude's edge. Subscribe to Resource AI Hub for more breakdowns just like this one.